1 week ago at the Nürburgring, Peter Kox led off the start after taking Lamborghini's first qualifying race win of the season. Everyone sneaked through into turn 1, but there was a bit of a collision going into turn 2. Nicky Passarelli moving over to the right-hand side of the circuit. He, Ollie Jarvis and Alvaro Parent all retiring from the race. After a difficult qualifying race, Yelmer Buurman was slicing through the field, as was Fred Makowiecki in the Hexis McLaren. But he came together with Dominic Baumann, and that would earn the McLaren a drive-through penalty. So although he spurred on, tried to overtake the number 18 car of Yelmer Buurman, it was all to no avail. He was bringing the Ferrari with him as well in the battle for the final podium position. Made a good move on Yelmer Buurman up the inside into turn 2 and making it stick into 3. The 4 contenders then came into the pits at the same time, with Peter Kox having come in a lap earlier to hand over to Stefan Racina. So it was now a battle in the pits between Al Inkel, Vita for One, Hexis and AF Corsa. Peter Kox's pit stop hadn't been that smooth though, so when Stefan Racina did take over, he was unable to hold on to the lead. Instead, the number 3 AF Corsa Ferrari getting out in front, Philippe Salaquada taking the lead, Winkelhock in second, third place for Michael Bartels, with Racina just taking 4th ahead of the number 1 Hexis McLaren of Stef Dusseldorp. Racina's tyres were up to temperature though, and he soon swept past Michael Bartels and up into 3rd position with his sights set on the Mercedes in front. Racina sent one up the inside going into the chicane, but Winkelhock defended strongly and was able to hold on to the 3rd position. The Hexis McLaren came in to serve its drive-through penalty, but the number 1 car would retire later on with a mechanical problem. But it was the first championship race win of the season for AF Corsa Ferrari. Tony Verlander and Philippe Salaquada taking the win, but with Markus Winkelhock and Marc Basseng finishing 2nd, they took the championship lead, while Stefan Racina and Peter Kox crossed the line to take their first podium of the 2012 season. This weekend we're in Donington Park for the 3-way fight for the 2012 Drivers' Championship. Audi had a strong weekend at the Nürburgring, but it didn't quite come together in terms of results. Stefano Telli and Laurens Vanthoor looked strong, and Frank Stippler and Oliver Jarvis were taken out at the 2nd corner of the championship race. Jarvis is keen to do well though on home soil.
It's probably going to be a tough weekend again, as we're struggling on straight line speed, but the team's very determined. We've stayed positive throughout the year, and I hope here we can have a strong result. It looks like at the moment the circuit might suit the Audi, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be fighting for podiums.
The Vita for One racing team contenders this weekend are Yelmer Buurman and Michael Bartels. The pairing have been leading the championship since the Slovakia ring, all the way back in June, but at the last round in the Nürburgring, they were usurped at the top of the Drivers' Championship. They're only a point behind coming into this weekend, and Buurman has enjoyed the battle all season.
Well, it was a really good battle, so far, and I mean, to be here in this position is really cool. It's going to be for sure tough, but I think we've got a really good chance, and we're going to push as hard as we can.
AF Corsa had a great weekend last time out at the Nürburgring, taking their first championship race victory of the season. This weekend, Tony Verlander's not here, and he'll be replaced by Marco Ciocci, who will be alongside regular driver Philippe Salaquada.
It's my first time here in Donington. I like the track. It's really nice, really high-speed mid-speed corner. For me, it's the first race with Marco. I'm really looking forward to have a good race, and hopefully we can finish on the podium the first race. I'm really looking forward.
It was a tough weekend for the Sun-Red Ford GT squad in the Nürburgring. Benjamin Lariche and Laurent Groppi only lasted 2 laps in the championship race after a collision forced them into retirement. But Laurent Groppi is hoping for better things this weekend at the season finale.
It's a good thing to be there to finish this championship. It's a World Championship with a strong level, and it's funny to be there with my good friend Benjamin Lariche.
Lamborghini picked up their first win of the season last time out at the Nürburgring, taking the win in the qualifying race in the hands of Stefan Racina and Peter Kox. Peter Kox used to race in the British Touring Car Championship, so he certainly knows his way around this Donington Park circuit.
I'm extremely happy for rider engineering last weekend. We were so close already on a few occasions, and always we didn't get it completely right, and last weekend it went completely right, apart from the championship race where we were not so good with the strategy, but it all went really well, and for sure here we want to finish on a high note. So I have high hopes for a good result this weekend.
Hexis McLaren still have a mathematical chance of taking the championship this weekend. Stef Dusseldorp and Fred Makowiecki are in the hunt, but only a win and retirements for both their rivals will see them take the crown. But team manager Philippe Dumas knows it's a long shot.
No, for sure we had a very difficult weekend in Nürburgring. A lot of up and down this season, and to be honest, we are really disappointed about what happened in Nürburgring, but because everything was under control. But the goal today and this weekend is to win for McLaren and for us, and to finish with 3 victories. Yeah.
Mercedes-Benz moved into the lead of the Drivers' Championship at the Nürburgring last weekend. Marc Basseng and Markus Winkelhock hold a slender 1-point advantage over their main rivals here at Donington Park. The Mercedes has looked strong in free practice too, and the Alinkel.com Munich Motorsport squad certainly know how to get the best out of the SLS. Team manager Marc Basseng is excited for the weekend.
We know from the beginning we have a good car, a car which will run every weekend. And we and Hexis know the championship quite well, the special thing with the pit stops, and I think we did a quite good job through all the season. And big thank you to my pit stop guys. And Markus and me, we are always out of the trouble. So in the end we make the points, and now we are here leading the championship by 1 point, and I hope it is enough for the championship.
Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to Donington Park for the final qualifying race of the 2012 FIA GT1 World Championship. My name's Jack Nichols. I'm here in the commentary box. We've got Hayley Coxon down in the pit lane, and we're going to be bringing you coverage of this 1-hour race, which really is set to be a thriller here at Donington Park. You can see the crowd just about gathering on the banks over there, and they're enjoying 14.2 degrees centigrade heat. So not exactly roasting, but the track is up at a nice reasonable 23 degrees centigrade. And the story this weekend is all about the battle for the championship. At the top of the championship, we have the... well, here you can see the championship standings. Marc Basseng and Markus Winkelhock 1 point ahead of Michael Bartels and Yelmer Buurman coming into this weekend. We'll discuss how they've done in qualifying in a few moments' time. Stef Dusseldorp and Fred Makowiecki still in the championship hunt for now, but that could change in an hour's time because they didn't have a great weekend last time out in Nürburgring, so the championship is still a long shot for them. As far as the team's championship is concerned, there we've got Alinkel.com Munich Motorsports at the top. They are some 36 points of V241 Racing. They can't officially seal it today, Munich Motorsports, because there aren't that many points on offer in the championship race, but they can certainly put themselves in a good position to sort it out tomorrow. Here's a look at the grid for the qualifying race. Carroll on pole, Stef Dusseldorp alongside him in the championship challenging McLaren. Then we've got Stefan Rosina in third, with Marco Ciocci in fourth position. Then the third row of the grid, the teammates of the cars battling for the championship, Jaeger and Meyer Melnoff. Then you've got the number 18 car. Then you've got the championship leaders in 10th place, Markus Winkelhock at the wheel there, Grégoire de Moustier and Benjamin Lariche completing our grid for today. For the penultimate time this season, we're about to get racing in GT1, and it's a good start from Adam Carroll. He covers the inside line. Peter Cox is looking racy on the one down into Redgate for the first time. Jaeger fancies to look up the inside, but at the moment they're still running 2 by 2. Ciocci didn't get a great start. Markus Winkelhock, I think, has forced his way past his championship rival in there. Yes, Markus Winkelhock, with a brilliant start, is now in front of the V241 BMW. Down into the old hairpin for the first time. Up into second place has gone Peter Cox. We're all safely through the first 4 corners of this Donington Park circuit, but what a brilliant start from Markus Winkelhock. He's got a car now in between himself and Michael Bartels. Up into McLean's, it was a very neat and tidy start, and Peter Cox is looking on it. He's really putting the pressure on Adam Carroll. Out onto the back straight. Third place then for Dusseldorp, fourth for Jaeger. So again, the Mercedes always claim they're slow, but they're fourth and fifth positions at the halfway stage of the first lap. Threading their way through this brilliant fog at TS as the car's really bouncing on their way out of the corner, and now down into the Melbourne hairpin for the first time. Jaeger tentatively sending one up the inside. Marco Ciocci really the big loser there. He started fourth on the grid. I think he's now down in 6th place. And Jaeger is showing his nose at every possible opportunity, trying to put Stef Dusseldorp off. There's almost a nudge between them as they come out of the final corner. Dusseldorp not able to keep pace with the lead too, but across the line they come. Adam Carroll leads, but for how much longer? Here comes Peter Cox up the inside into Redgate and moves into the lead of the race. The Reiter Engineering Lamborghini leading, and there's a challenge for third as well. Jaeger sticking one up the inside of Dusseldorp, but he can't quite get through. Away goes the marker on the inside of the chicane. That was never going to stay there for too long. Buurman gets a great run. Surely he'll be on the inside line down into the Melbourne hairpin, and Yelmer Buurman takes 6th position. I was surprised Chiocci didn't cover the inside line a little bit more, because Buurman got such a great run out that it was kind of obvious almost. There's the V1 Racing team. Look at the speed that Buurman takes out of the corner. You can visibly see how much quicker the BMW is. Winkelhock holds it in the centre of the circuit on the run down into the Fogarty S's. Not really an overtaking opportunity. Now this is where the BMW got great traction out last time in its challenge with the Ferrari, but not quite as much this time around. Winkelhock still feeling the need to go defensive now. Are we going to have some team play here? Jaeger moves out of the way. Has he lost out to Buurman as well? This is going to be the interesting thing. Jaeger really needs to hold on in front of this BMW if that's going to work out for Al Inkel, and he has. And running wide on the exit of Goddard's there is Stefan Racina. Kept it all together, no major drama, but he was very much on the grass there. He's pushing hard. 29.168 on that last lap. Still the fastest of anyone. Here we go. Does he get sideways? No, just takes too much speed. Stefan Racina leading into the Fogarty S's. Whoa, look at that. He's pushing hard. Well, you heard that from Hans Reiter. Brilliant to hear that on the radio to Stefan Racina. He says, Stefan, don't over push it. You've got enough of a lead. Don't push too hard. Pit stop window is open. Now then, who is going to blink first? In comes Yelmer Buurman then to hand over to Michael Bartels. Also in comes the Ferrari of Marco Chiocci and the 33 Audi of Frank Stippler. Let's see how this pit stop goes. Oliver Jarvis gets into the Audi. He's had a few troubles getting the BMW started so far this year. Away goes Bartels. There's Marc Basseng, right down the far end of the pit lane. Across the line then comes Adam Carroll. He continues to lead, but into the pits comes Markus Winkelhock. So this is massively exciting, massively nerve-wracking, because this could be crucial for the championship, and they all know it. The crucial thing may be that Michael Bartels will have his tyres up to temperature if he comes on the attack. The Al Inkel squad have great pit stops in the past. I don't want to curse them, but they have been some of the quickest pit stops so far this year. There's Bartels coming around the Melbourne hairpin. It's going to be very close. The final wheel is done. Away goes, it's going to be Basseng, I think, to come out, because Bartels is just coming into the final corner now. Marc Basseng is already coming out of the pit lane. So Markus Winkelhock has handed over to Marc Basseng, and he holds on. In comes Thomas Jaeger to hand over to Nicky Pastorelli. Now, if Mercedes can get both of their cars out in front of the 18 BMW, that would be a real fillet for them. This is looking like a good stop. Final tyre going on, and off is Oliver Jarvis. Oliver Jarvis has beached himself in the gravel. Oh, as has Philippe Salaquada. So I wonder if those two came together. But here comes Nicky Pastorelli. Where's his teammate? Miles behind. Miles behind is Marc Basseng. So that must have been a great stop for Nicky Pastorelli. And Michael Bartels is closing in on both of them by the looks of things. Into the pits comes Stefan Racina to hand over to Peter Cox. Now, will they emerge in the lead of this race? The Adam Carroll now goes through to take the lead, so Carroll and Dusseldorp stay out. It seems that the Audi and the Ferrari are off at different places on the circuit, so perhaps they didn't come together. But no safety car deployed, which is the main thing. They send away Peter Cox. The car gets started nice and quickly. Here comes this battle, so Cox is going to be out well in front of them. So the battle really for the lead is going to be for Adam Carroll and Stef Dusseldorp when they come into the pits this time around. A late look from Bartels, going down into the hairpin. He's really feeling racy now, is Michael Bartels. Basseng has to go defensive. Look into the pits, comes the Audi and the McLaren, right together then. The Audi drives past, the McLaren pulls in. We're watching the McLaren pit stop. There you can see the Audis as well. This is going to be interesting, so this could be for the race lead, depending on how quickly Peter Cox has gone. And look at that, more side-by-side action between Basseng and Bartels. I wonder if Bartels got a good run and was thinking about having a look, but the yellow flags were out. Away goes the number one. This is going to be close, and I think the McLaren's going to get the jump. The McLaren is up into second place. Is the McLaren going to take the lead? Where is Peter Cox? He comes out of the final corner, and Fred Makowiecki moves into the lead of the race. The number one Hexis McLaren leads. It's second place then for the 32 Audi, now in the hands of Laurens Vanthoor. But Cox will have his tyres up to temperature, and we've got a three-car train. And look at that. Basseng is now ahead of Pastorelli. Marc Basseng is now ahead of Nicky Pastorelli. And here's the battle. Look, this is the thing that we thought might happen. Peter Cox has got his tyres up to temperature, and he's now attacking Laurens Vanthoor on the run down into the chicane. Has to back out of it because the yellow flags are still there. Double waved yellows. Presumably there's marshals on the circuit somewhere down there, or not on the circuit, but in the gravel trap. And here comes Cox again, sending it to the outside of Vanthoor. Is he going to get the overlap on the outside? He is. Vanthoor squeezes him, but there's just enough room. The pit stop window is now closed. Everyone's made their pit stop anyway, but this is allowing Fred Makowiecki to get away at the front of the field. Across the line they come. Makowiecki has a 1.4 second advantage as they cross the line. Cox sends the dummy, but he's not quite close enough. Really putting Laurens Vanthoor under some pressure. He's got a great exit. Surely we're not about to go side by side down the Crater curves. Almost contact between the two of them. Side by side through the Crater curves. Brilliant stuff. Vanthoor holds on at the moment. Hans Reiter looking as nervy as anything, but Peter Cox knows his way around here. 3 years in the British Touring Car Championship for the Dutchman, but he knew when it was time to back out. Safety car deployed. Safety car deployed here at Donington Park. Now I wonder what that will be for. Now we're seeing the Fogarty S's, Oliver Jarvis. Oh, he's just got it wrong. He's got it wrong all by himself by the looks of things. Down at the Fogarty S's, and that's where his car is off. And here we're going to see the Ferrari going off at Coppice. Oh, wibbly wobbly, out of shape. And Salaquada keeps going, go on, keep it lit and you'll get out of there, Philippe. But what happens? Runs out of momentum and ends up beached in the gravel. Racing back underway. Makowiecki has a 0.4 of a second advantage over Vanthoor. None of them particularly close to one another. So that's worked out well. Oh, that's a late move from Alvaro Parent, trying to get past Michael Bartels. Has he managed to pull it off in the McLaren? Yes, he has. So Michael Bartels loses another position. Bartels drops to 7th. That would extend the championship lead for Basseng and Winkelhock to 4 points. Alvaro Parent really on it, but he's not going to want to stop his progress there. 2005 British F3 champion Alvaro Parent. He won World Series by Renault as well in that year that he took pole. He gets up the inside and he gets past Nicky Pastorelli. Bit of contact between the two of them as they exit the hairpin. But now Parent is up into 5th place. Again, here comes Enzo E. This time he's got more conviction. This time he outbrakes Nicky Mermelnoff into Redgate. Melmanov trying to get the overlap back again into the crane of curves, but he's unable to. Peter Cox is coming into play now, though. He set the fastest final sector of anyone on that last lap. He's just set the fastest first sector of anyone on this lap. And is that Eid running wide in front of Melmanov? Certainly grass was kicked up. And I think Melmanov might now be back behind. Yes, he's back in front of Enzo Eid. Eid ran wide at the old hairpin. And Parent is through. Parent has got past Marc Basseng, so Alvaro Parent up into 4th place. Could this be an incredible McLaren 1-2? What a brilliant drive it would be from Parent. Car number 4 went off at turn 4 and continued, so that was the Enzo Eid run wide that I spotted. Just saw the dust kicking up. Again, Peter Cox goes quick in sector 1. And here's the replay then. You see, off goes Enzo Eid. Only 2 wheels on the grass. Well, no, it ends up being 4 wheels on the grass. But then he loses the position. And off goes Nicky Melmanov. Melmanov going off at Goddard's. So that means he is now back behind Enzo Eid. Let's have a look. And the back end just steps away. Ooh, big lock-up, big kick of brake dust. But I think the back end just stepped away under braking. Perhaps he locked the rears. Keeps it all together quite nicely. Rally crossing it round back onto the tarmac. Parent sends one up the inside. Very late manoeuvre down into the Melbourne hairpin. Can he get it stopped in time? No. Peter Cox gets the cut back, but Parent will have the inside line on the run up into Goddard's and should be able to consolidate the move. What's Cox going to do? He'll send it in wide, try and get the drive out of the corner. Almost works out for him. He hasn't quite got the overlap that he would have wanted. He's going to keep Parent pinned to the inside line before swinging it to the outside and try and get the cutback manoeuvre again. But that was such a late move from Alvaro Parent. So confident on the brakes in that McLaren MP4-12C, and he moves up into 3rd position. He's got 3.6 seconds to find to catch Vanthor in front, so I think that's going to be too much of an ask, even for Alvaro. This would be a great result as well for Marc Basseng. He didn't seem particularly confident yesterday. Well, here's a look at the replay. Look at that, he must have been a car length or 2 behind Peter Cox. Cox doesn't know he's there until he turns into the corner and sees the massive Hexis logo on the side of the McLaren and has to back out of it. There's the response in the McLaren garage. There's our top 4. Past the exhibition centre on the right-hand side. Under where the Dunlop Bridge used to be, and hopefully will be again one day. What's Bartel's done on this lap? He lost time in sector 1. He's feigning towards the inside of the hairpin, sending it very late on the brakes there, and he's managed to force his way past. There may well have been a little bit of contact. There's definitely contact there. Pastorelli holds it in, but Michael Bartels is getting desperate now, because the championship battle that's been raging since the first weekend in April is coming to a climax. And has he got a puncture? Bartels has a puncture from that contact, perhaps because he's coming into the pit lane. The Vita for One team raced to get some new tyres ready, and it looks like a front left puncture to me for Michael Bartels. Incredible drama here in GT1. There is the front left. It's the rim on the wheel has gone as well. They get it off without any problem. They give it a little check. He's not going to score any points in this race, Michael Bartels. But now it's about where can he get the car to start the championship race tomorrow. BMW fires up, and away it goes. Well, here's a look at the replay. I think it's this first little nudge that is going to be where the... There might have been a little nudge there, but this is definitely where the damage happens. Bang, there. Bartels is front left into the rear right of Nicky Pastorelli. On the final lap is the number 1 car of Fred Makowiecki and Stef Dusseldorp. Even with that incident for Michael Bartels, they are still saving some final lap drama, are going to be out of the running for the Drivers' Championship, but they've done all they can. Stef Dusseldorp did a solid start. The Hexis team put in a great pit stop. Fred Makowiecki came out in the lead of the race. And he has held on for the lead of the race. Into the final corner, he's just going to get there after the clock counts to 0, and Hexis McLaren win the qualifying race in the hands of Fred Makowiecki and Stef Dusseldorp. Second place for Laurens Vanthoor and Adam Carroll. It's a McLaren 1-3 with Alvaro Perrin and Gregoire de Moustier in third. Fourth place for the Lamborghini of Peter Cox and Stefan Racina. But crucially, across the line, in fifth position, comes Marc Basseng and Markus Winkelhock. They extend their lead at the top of the championship to 3 points. That finish means that unfortunately the number 1 car of Makowiecki and Dusseldorp is not in contention coming into tomorrow's championship race. It's a straight fight between the Mercedes and the BMW, and the Ford GT hasn't taken the checkered flag yet, so that's a real shame. Laurent Groppi forced to retire on the final lap. That will give Michael Bartels an extra position, so it'll be a 9th place start for tomorrow's championship race for Michael Bartels. Fred Makowiecki and Stef Dusseldorp have converted their second place on the grid to a race win, and now they are down in Parc Fermé. We'll start with Fred Makowiecki. They're both down there with Hayley Coxon.
Congratulations, Fred. What a mega performance by yourself in the McLaren.
Yeah, it's true. It's fantastic, especially after the Nürburgring. The goal was really to do a good race here. Stef did a great job at the beginning, and after the team did again a fantastic pit stop, and we exit first. With the safety car, it was a little bit tricky at the restart because the tire was a little bit cold, but the car is really, really nice, and it's fantastic for everybody.
Thank you. Steph, once again the team are on it with the pit stops. You have impressed us this season, and here you are taking another win. And what a way to almost finish the weekend for you.
Yeah, it's a good start. As I said in the press conference after qualifying, first pole position was not our luckiest position. Second today brings us more luck, and hopefully we can start from 1-1 again tomorrow and bring this season to a nice finish.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at the classified results. 2.4 seconds between the McLaren and the Audi as they cross the line, with the second McLaren in third place. Great performance for McLaren at their home race. Makowiecki and Dusseldorp taking the win. This finishing order will also decide the grid for tomorrow's championship race. So Peter Cox will start in fourth position tomorrow. Marc Basseng and Markus Winkelhock extend their championship lead to 3 points. They'll start in fifth place. The big drama towards the end of that race, Michael Bartels and Yelmer Buurman picking up that puncture, and as a result finishing down in 9th position, and that's where they'll start in the championship race tomorrow. Oliver Jarvis, Philippe Salaquada and Laurent Groppi not making it to the end of the race, unfortunately. This is it. This is the final championship race of the 2012 FIA GT1 World Championship season. My name is Jack Nichols. I'm here in the commentary box. We've got Hayley Coxon down in the pit lane at Donington Park for the final round of this 2012 season. And what a 2012 season it has been. So let's have a look at the grid. The focus has been on the back rows with the championship challengers, but we've got McLaren and Audi on the front row, Makowiecki and Laurens Vanthoor. Then it's McLaren and Lamborghini on the second row. Row 3 is the pair of Mercedes. Then we've got in 9th position the championship challenger, Michael Bartels. He needs to get in front of the number 38 Mercedes if he's to win the title. And then Jarvis and Salaquada on the 6th row of the grid. This is it. This is the end of the 2012 FIA GT1 World Championship. It's BMW versus Mercedes for both championships. This is the rear view from the 38 car of Marc Basseng. It's Makowiecki on pole in the McLaren. It's Vanthoor alongside him in the Audi. The race goes green. Basseng immediately looks to the inside, but his route is blocked off by Perrin. Storming start from Peter Cox, looking to the inside on the run down into the Redgate. But the McLaren leads of Makowiecki. Cox might be able to get up into second place. Our championship leaders are pushed a little bit wide on the exit of the first corner. And it's a spin. Off goes the Ford GT. Off goes the 17 BMW. That has pretty much put an end to their championship hopes as far as the teams are concerned. The safety car has been deployed. The cameraman filming down there where the incident happened is okay. And here's a look at the replay. So if you look in the very background, the Ford has gone wide. The BMW has gone wider though, and then the BMW loses it as he comes back onto the track. Mermanov loses it, collects the Ford, and that's not a slow speed impact straight into the barriers for Laurent Groppi in the Ford. Here's another look at him. See in the back of the field, off they go to the right hand side. It's a heavy frontal impact for Laurent Groppi. The cameraman actually legging it out of the way, so good reactions from him. And the red flag has gone out, I believe. By the looks of it, yeah, there is the red flag. The timing screens suggested it, so the clock has stopped. That is a site of some considerable wreckage down here on the exit of Hollywood. So there's the accident again. You see there is a bit of a touch between the 17 and 38 car. It looks fairly unintentional. There was still plenty of room on the outside of the circuit, so it's not as though... I think it would be harsh to claim Marc Basseng pushed Niki Mehammadov onto the grass, because there was still plenty of room out there. There was a bit of a touch between them, though, no doubt. The safety car comes in after a long delay here in FIA GT1. Makowiecki hasn't broken away from Peter Cox much. Only 0.4 of a second separating them. Pastorelli definitely hasn't broken clear of Alvaro Parent in the battle over 4th place. Down through the craners. You can see the sparks again flying up on the inside of the Mercedes. They've had to set that car up so stiff because of the extra weight that the weight makes it down here on the exit of Hollywood. Yeah, there is the red flag. The timing screens suggested it, so the clock has stopped. That is a site of some considerable wreckage down here on the exit of Hollywood. So there's the accident again. You see there is a bit of a touch between the 17 and 38 car. It looks fairly unintentional. There was still plenty of room on the outside of the circuit, so it's not as though... I think it would be harsh to claim Marc Basseng pushed Niki Mehammadov onto the grass, because there was still plenty of room out there. There was a bit of a touch between them, though, no doubt. The safety car comes in after a long delay here in FIA GT1. Makowiecki hasn't broken away from Peter Cox much. Only 0.4 of a second separating them. Pastorelli definitely hasn't broken clear of Alvaro Parent in the battle over 4th place. Down through the craners. You see the sparks again flying up on the inside of the Mercedes. They've had to set that car up so stiff because of the extra weight that the weight makes it lean over on that front left splitter. Pretty spectacular, though. Through McLean's. Into Coppice. Alvaro Parent maybe one car length behind as they exit Coppice and head out onto the Dunlop Straight, and you can see they took a different line through there. Pastorelli's going to have to go defensive into the chicane, surely. Parent decides to send one up the inside. Pastorelli decides not to fight. And as a result, he's going to let Basseng through, is he? Basseng coming up the inside now, down into the Melbourne hairpin. But watch out, because Enzo Eade's in there as well. Eade's going to try and pass them. Eade gets past them both. And the 33 Audi is in there as well as Oliver Jarvis. So Pastorelli loses out a couple of places. Now up into Goddard's. That didn't quite work exactly how Mercedes would have wanted. Out onto the start-finish straight. Here's a look at it then. I think Pastorelli decides to let Basseng through. Eade says, oh, hello, this looks like this could work out nicely for me. They all had to go wider, and that allowed Oliver Jarvis through as well. So I think that was opportunistic from Enzo Eade that scuppered the plans of the Al Inkle squad. And Basseng always had a look up the inside, yes. Jarvis sends one up the inside. Not quite close enough to get through. But now he's going to sell the dummy going into Goddard's. Very late on the brakes. And Oliver Jarvis moves through. The battle isn't over though. Side by side, these two fighting tooth and nail for P6. Basseng on the outside will try and get the cutback, but Jarvis was super late on the brakes going into the final corner. I didn't think he would get it stopped, in all honesty, but he managed to. The Mercedes have struggled with the brakes this weekend. There's Winkelhock, ready to go out and take over that 38 machine. This race could still go any way. It looks at the moment as though it is, and here comes Parent for third. Up the inside, is he going to run Vanthoor out of room? He doesn't need to, because he's got enough traction in that McLaren to take third place away from the Audi of Laurens Vanthoor. In comes Oliver Jarvis. In comes Michael Bartels. That's what we were waiting for. The GT1 Racing Team pit stop. In he comes. Now this needs to be the smoothest pit stop of the GT1 Racing Team's life. Saw all sorts of activity going on in the pit lane. Front right is changed. Yelmer Buurman getting strapped into the wheel of that BMW, and how quickly can he get his tyres up to temperature? Away goes the BM. That looked like a pretty good stop. Is it going to jump the Audi? No. No, it's not. Yelmer Buurman, though, if he needs to make this move very quickly. He needs to absolutely destroy Frank Stippler, and he's going to go for it into Redgate. No, he's not. This is crucial for Yelmer Buurman. If he loses time behind Stippler, then he's going to be in all sorts of trouble. This could be the pit stop incident that decides the 2012 GT1 World Championship, because look at the time he's losing, having to try to get past Frank Stippler. He's going to get alongside now. He'll have the outside line through Schwanzkirch and Starkeys, but Yelmer Buurman moves up past Stippler. So that's one position gained. But the key thing is when he is going to be, where he is going to be when the two Mercedes come out. Here we go. Here we go. The Alinkel squad get to work. Marc Basseng out. Markus Winkelhock takes over. Goodness me, the pressure in these pit stops is immense at the best of times, but this could be the championship deciding pit stop. There's Yelmer Buurman. He will have his tyres up to temperature. The rear left wheel goes on. Away goes Winkelhock. Buurman comes into the final corner. Now Winkelhock is going to get out in front, but Buurman's tyres will be a little more up to temperature. The BMW is closing in rapidly. Yelmer Buurman, this is the on-track battle for the GT1 Drivers' World Championship. Buurman gets the speed on the exit. Even if he gets past, that doesn't necessarily do it. He'll still need to make up a couple more places. Buurman sends it to the outside. Winkelhock defends hard on the inside line. Buurman, with the hotter tyres, tries to send it all the way around the outside. That was never going to work. Winkelhock having to defend for all his life is worth now. Buurman now will get the cutback. Winkelhock holds it on the apex. Buurman knows the BMW is weak in a straight line. Look at the BMW falling away. How frustrating must that be for Yelmer Buurman? Up into Redgate. Oh, Buurman's got the cutback into Hollywood. There's contact between the two of them, and off goes Yelmer Buurman into the tyre barriers. Incredible stuff. Yelmer Buurman is out of the race. Michael Bartels is furious. The two of them make contact. Is Winkelhock out of the race? It doesn't matter, because Markus Winkelhock and Marc Basseng are the 2012 Drivers' World Champions. Let's hope that Yelmer Buurman is okay, though. That is the most important thing. Nicky Mermanov furious. Bartel's furious as well. Winkelhock is out as well. It's like Senna and Prost in 1990. Safety car deployed, but what drama in the final GT1 race of the season. Winkelhock is out, he's okay. He's walking straight up towards the gap between the barriers. Michael Bartels not happy at all, storming into the Alinkel garage. safety car is deployed, as I think I mentioned in all of that palaver. Winkelhock wanting to see if Yelmer Buurman is okay. And now here we go. Buurman did the classic Donington manoeuvre. Outside line, cut back inside into Hollywood. Difficult, isn't it? Very, very difficult to judge what happened there. Winkelhock goes off as well. That angle doesn't quite give us the kind of the full picture, because it's so low down, that camera position, that you can't see from above exactly where Winkelhock is positioned on the circuit. There you can see the confirmation, the incident between 13 and 18 is under investigation. There is the red flag. The red flag has been declared here at Donington Park. The race will not be restarted, so that is the end of the FIA GT1 World Championship. There you can see Martin Whitmarsh on the left-hand side. He's come down to watch how the MP4-12C performs, and of course he'll be fairly happy because that gives Stef Dusseldorp and Fred Makowiecki the win, but I don't think anyone can be happy in these particular circumstances, as we all hope that Yelmer Buurman is okay. The race will not be restarted. There is the confirmation. Here's a look at the results after 27 laps of racing. Again, these are only provisional, depending on what the stewards decide to do with the count back towards the red flag, although the red flag did come out after a safety car period, so these are probably going to be the results that stand. Makowiecki and Dusseldorp taking the win, a second clear of Peter Cox and Stefan Racina, Alvaro Parent and Gregoire de Moustier in third, Van Thor and Adam Carroll in fourth position, Eden Castellacci fifth, Pastorelli and Thomas Jaeger in sixth position, seventh for Oliver Jarvis and Frank Stippler, eighth for Philippe Salaquarda and Marco Ciocci, Basseng and Winkelhock in ninth, and Michael Bartels and Yelmer Buurman in 10th position. Here's how it will stand if everything stays how it is. Basseng and Winkelhock champions by 3 points ahead of Stef Dusseldorp and Fred Makowiecki. Bartels and Buurman dropping to third position. Van Thor in fourth position with Ortelli in fifth. Thomas Jaeger, Nicky Pastorelli, Philippe Salaquarda in seventh. Oliver Jarvis completing the top 8. The team's championship was confirmed at the very first corner after the retirement of the 17 car of Nicky Meyer-Melnhof. It means Alinkel.com Munich Motorsports win the championship. Hexis Racing move up into second place, with Belgian Audi Club in third. Vita for one finishing fourth place. So Hexis doing a great job to overhaul 2 teams in front of them and move up into second position in the championship. Stef Dusseldorp and Fred Makowiecki with him.
Stef, a win for you, not quite the way you wanted to win, but still a great win, and almost it's been a decent season for the McLaren. It's been spectacular to see it take its first World Championship race win, and you guys have been driving it extremely well, so it's been an impressive performance by the team.
Yeah, it's an amazing year. We started really badly in the first race in Nogaro, and it's a great way to finish the season with a win. It's definitely not the win we wanted to have today. It's not a good sign to see two cars in the wall, but I'm happy we got the win. We did our best anyway. We were the best yesterday. We were the best today, I think, as well. So we deserve the win, but not the way we want.
Thank you. And Fred, you have been extremely impressive this season behind the wheel of the McLaren. How has it been for you competing in such a fantastic piece of machinery?
I'm sure it's great because we finished second of the championship. We won a lot of race, but the feeling is a little bit strange because to see Yelmer in the world tire, I hope so. Everything is okay for him and he don't have a problem. And after we know that we lose, the fiability was not every time with us, and we lose maybe the championship with this. But we can be really proud of all the work of McLaren and Hexis Racing.
Thank you.
There's the marketing manager here at Donington Park, Kirk Rodwell, handing the trophies for the third place finishers Gregoire de Moustier and Alvaro Parent. Second place Peter Cox and Stefan Rosina. Another Dutchman. Second place for Peter Cox, along with Slovakian Stefan Rosina. And then on the top step of the podium, Kirk Rodwell hands the trophies to Stef Dusseldorp and Fred Makowiecki. Fred Makowiecki becomes the most winning driver in FIA GT1 World Championship history. And there's the award for Bautier for the Hexis McLaren squad. They claim second place in the team's championship. A championship they really should have won if it wasn't for their mechanical difficulties. And the drivers now pose for the photographs down there. And this is the final round of the 2012 GT1 World Championship, the final round of the FIA GT1 World Championship. But plans are afoot for next year. And they leave the podium, understandably, without spraying the champagne, because the race has been brought to an end because of that accident involving Yelmer Buurman. I can bring you confirmation that Yelmer Buurman, I'm delighted to tell you, is okay. He's receiving more medical attention, but the news we have been given is that Yelmer Buurman is okay, which is the news that we all wanted to hear. There's the repairs up at Hollywood. So the championship ends in not the best way. Now we can hear from Marc Basseng, team's champion, driver's champion as well, but I'm sure it wasn't the way he wanted it to end.
Mark, it's not exactly the way you wanted to take both of the titles, but you are the FIA GT1 World Champions.
Yeah, this was a tough weekend, really stressful. I'm unhappy how it ends, definitely, with the collision between Yelmer and Markus. But I just had two short replays on TV, and what I saw is that Yelmer hit Markus first, and Markus reported to us that maybe something broke or his car gets unstable after the first hit, and then the second hit happened, which Yelmer turns around and put him into the tire wall. So I think it is under investigation at the stewards, and they will find out. But in my eyes, this was unnecessary from Yelmer to push Markus, because he had so much grip, he could easily do the inside or take the inside line. So not good to end the championship like that.
Well, at least we do know now that Yelmer is okay.
Yeah, I mean, that is the most important. I was really nervous about that, as Markus told us that he's unconscious. So we hope that everything will be okay. Now everybody is really up in the air, so everybody needs to calm down, and then we will see the result.
Okay. Thank you, Mark.
The season started in the first weekend of April, all the way back in Nogaro. The McLaren was strong then. They had troubles, though, in qualifying, but in the race, Alvaro Parenta, the number 2 car there, was absolutely on it, got pushed wide, but then both had to retire with mechanical problems. The story in Nogaro was all about the Audis, a battle between Oliver Jarvis and Laurens Vanthoor saw Vanthoor take the win with Stefan Otelli. Then we headed to Belgium for the second round of the championship. There was great battling throughout in a wet, dry race. The two Audis, after finishing first and second, ended up knocking each other out in Zolder, and the win went to Mike Parisi and Matt Halliday in the Exim Bank Team China Porsche. Then to Navarra, where we picked up our third winner in 3 races. The Al-Inkle squad made a great pit stop, but it wasn't enough to stop the charge of the Hexis McLarens, who finally managed to cure their reliability problems. Alvaro Parenta stormed through the field, as did Mike Parisi at times. The straight line speed in that Porsche was something else. He ended up taking advantage when Laurens Vanthoor slid wide down at turn 3, but no one could stop the Hexis McLarens. They picked up a 1-2 with Fred Makowiecki and Stef Dusseldorp taking the victory ahead of Alvaro Parenta and Gregoire de Moustier. Makowiecki there hanging out the pit wall, delighted with that. Then we made our first visit of the season to the Slovakia ring. Ferrari looked strong early on. A little bit of rain delayed proceedings in the qualifying race, where Ferrari worked out strong, but the conditions were too warm for them. There was a spin between Stefan Rosina and Matteo Cressoni, which frustrated Alba Fontaine and Taxis there. Great racing again, though, throughout the field, as we saw all season in FIA GT1. Again, the McLarens were fast. Stef Dusseldorp delighted with that move from Makowiecki. But this was the first time we saw the BMWs win. The 17 BMW forced Laurens Vanthoor a little bit wide on the start-finish straight, much to his disgust, but Buurman and Bartels took their first win of the 2012 season. Then it was Mercedes' turn. Basseng and Winkelhock got the jump at the start of the race. A bit of collisions further back in the field, saw Frank Stifler retire with a rear left puncture. We had one of the best shots of the season. 3 abreast on the run down into turn 6. The McLaren of Stef Dusseldorp defending massively. Thomas Jaeger got around the outside of Markus Winkelhock to move up into second place, and then promptly got past the McLaren as well to move into the lead of the race and give Jaeger and Pastorelli Mercedes' first win of the season. Basseng and Winkelhock then followed through. Winkelhock at the wheel, squeezing past on the run up into turn 7, just about ousting the McLaren from second place to give a 1-2 to the Munich Motorsports Mercedes. There was a little bit of contact between Mayer, Manhoff and Vanthor, nothing too drastic though, and the 1-2 for Al Inkel, their only championship race victory of the season. That was a key incident. Fred Makowiecki getting spun around at the first corner at our second visit to Slovakia. That affected the car, broke some of the suspension, which saw him spin off at the high-speed chicane. He had to retire from the race, lost a lot of points. Philippe Dumas was disappointed that weekend. Great battling throughout though. Oliver Jarvis there getting past Tony Verlander up into turn 8. Alvaro Parent then ran a little bit wide, ripping off the rear bodywork of that McLaren. That saw the safety car come out. Controversial safety car restart. Saw Winkelhock move into second place, but Buurman and Bartels took the victory and held on to the championship lead. Then we headed to Moscow. We weren't quite expecting the monsoon conditions that greeted us, but the race win nevertheless went the way of the Hexis McLaren, Stef Dusseldorp and Fred Makowiecki taking the victory. Alvaro Parent put a storming drive in, getting past Makowiecki in the rain to move up into the lead before de Moustier took over. The two Mercedes were battling hard. Stef Dusseldorp in the end got past his teammate, and then Alvaro Parent was tapped into a spin by Philippe Salaquada, and then the number 4 Ferrari of Castellacci decided to send Thomas Jaeger into a spin as well. Both Ferraris received penalties, and both McLarens finished on the podium. A 1-2 again for them. Dusseldorp and Makowiecki back in championship contention. But it all ran out of luck for them in the Nürburgring. They were battling hard early on. There was a collision at the first corner. Audi, Mercedes and McLaren all taken out at turn 1. Alvaro Parent and Gregoire de Moustier unable to continue. That was the moment, though, that possibly ended the number 1's championship challenge. For that contact with Dominic Baumann, Fred Makowiecki was handed a drive-through penalty. They later retired through a mechanical problem as well. Rossina was making good progress. It was a great battle into the final corner, but it was the race win for the Hexis McLaren of Dusseldorp and, for the AF Corsa Ferrari. So a brilliant season in GT1 sees a crowned champions, Markus Winkelhock and Marc Basseng. Thank you very much for joining us over the past 3 years. We'll see you soon.